To Pamela Warner, her son Malcolm was everything, her greatest achievement, her deepest joy, and the very rhythm of her life. When the news of his death arrived, it struck like a tidal wave, leaving her breathless. Malcolm had been vacationing in Costa Rica, a trip he had begged her to join, but she had stayed behind to rest, thinking they'd talk again soon. The night before the accident, he had called her, his voice dancing with excitement as he described the turquoise ocean, the tranquility of the air, and how grateful he felt to share that moment with people he loved. That call was the last time Pamela would ever hear her son's voice. When headlines announced that Malcolm-Jamal Warner, actor, musician, cultural icon, had drowned in a tragic swimming accident, fans around the world reacted in stunned disbelief. But for Pamela, the grief was something no headline could capture. She wasn't mourning a celebrity. She was mourning her child, the little boy she had rocked through long, sleepless nights, the nervous teenager she had steadied before auditions, the man she had watched grow into someone kind, gentle, and full of soul. Pamela had raised Malcolm alone in New Jersey, a single mother balancing work, responsibility, and ambition. She had no wealth or privilege, only the fierce determination to give her son a life filled with opportunity and love. From his earliest years, she nurtured his talents, fostered his intellect, and created a home where creativity was celebrated. When Malcolm shot to fame as Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show, Pamela stood steadfast by his side, not for the spotlight, but to shield him from it. She was his protector, his compass, and his fiercest believer. She was there for every major moment of his early success. His first big audition, his first taping, his first time grappling with the weight of fame. In an industry known for consuming child stars, Pamela kept Malcolm grounded. She whispered encouragement between scenes, attended every show taping, and kept a close watch on those who sought to take advantage. In every interview, Malcolm credited her. "There would be no me without her," he once said. "She didn't just raise me, she believed in me, even when I doubted myself." For Pamela, that belief came naturally. She had seen something extraordinary in Malcolm from the very beginning. "He was light," she once wrote. "He was music." Their connection ran deeper than the typical mother-son relationship. They shared a love of jazz, long conversations, poetry, and reflection. She didn't just teach him values like humility and integrity. She lived them. In turn, Malcolm grew into a man who carried those values with quiet confidence. He remained kind, introspective, and generous, even in a world that often demanded performance over authenticity. When his body was flown back from Costa Rica, Pamela was waiting at the private airport, silent, composed, and shattered. She walked toward the casket and placed her hand on it, whispering, "I'm here now, baby. I've got you." In that moment, everything they had shared passed between them again. The love, the struggle, the triumph. The finality of death sat heavily on her shoulders, but her strength, built over decades of devotion, did not break. Pamela chose not to express her grief publicly through interviews or social media. There were no sweeping tributes or grand performances of mourning. Instead, she chose to honor Malcolm as he had lived, with dignity, quiet purpose, and soul. But she did allow one moment of public remembrance, a letter read aloud during his memorial service. "My Malcolm," it began, "from the moment I first held you, I knew the world had changed. You were more than I ever dreamed a child could be. You made me laugh, made me grow, made me believe in love again after I had given up. You swam too far this time, my love, and I wasn't there to pull you back. But I know, wherever you are now, you are at peace. You always loved the ocean. Maybe you became a part of it." As those words were read, the chapel fell silent except for the sound of weeping. Friends, co-stars, musicians, and strangers alike sobbed, reminded not just of Malcolm's talent, but of his humanity. At the service, Pamela wore a simple black dress and a gold treble clef pin, a nod to Malcolm's deep love of music. In her purse was a small, worn photo, Malcolm as a toddler, sitting on her lap, beaming. "That's the version of him I still see when I close my eyes," she would later say. "Not the actor, not the celebrity. Just my little boy who used to sing himself to sleep." Though Malcolm's life ended far too soon, the bond he shared with his mother continues to echo. It was a relationship forged in perseverance, sacrifice, and trust. Through years of fame, setbacks, reinventions, and triumphs, Pamela was his constant. She supported not just his career, but his evolution as an artist and a man. She encouraged his creative exploration, his music, his directing, his poetry, and reminded him he didn't need to conform to survive in Hollywood. He needed only to be true to himself. They were a team, confidants in a world that often misunderstood them. Pamela encouraged honesty, vulnerability, and fearless self-expression. In return, Malcolm shared everything with her: the joys, the frustrations, the decisions that shaped his life. Their love wasn't performative. It was real and raw and sustaining. Even as he became a father himself, Malcolm carried the lessons of Pamela's love into his own parenting. He remained grounded in family, devoted to his daughter, and deeply connected to the people who mattered most. Pamela, in turn, embraced her role as a grandmother with the same fierce tenderness that defined her motherhood. She saw in that next generation the enduring legacy of her son's heart. Now, in the quiet moments of her life, Pamela feels Malcolm's presence everywhere, in music, in memories, in the whispers of the ocean he loved so much. His death left an impossible void, but also an unshakable imprint of love. No tide can erase it. No time can dilute it. The world may remember Malcolm-Jamal Warner as a beloved actor, a gifted musician, and a cultural figure who left a mark on generations. But to Pamela Warner, he will always be her son, her baby, her brightest light. And in her heart, he is still there, everywhere. Pamela Warner took deep pride in watching her son, Malcolm-Jamal Warner, grow into a thoughtful, compassionate man, artist, and father. Their bond remained unshakable throughout his life, rooted in mutual respect, unconditional love, and a shared passion for creativity and growth. Even as Malcolm built a family of his own, Pamela remained a guiding force, offering support, wisdom, and boundless encouragement. Their connection was not just mother and son, but best friends and lifelong confidants. Tragedy struck during a family vacation in Costa Rica, where Malcolm unexpectedly passed away. The loss was devastating and deeply personal for Pamela. She lost not only her child, but the very person who had given her life its greatest meaning. Her grief was raw and consuming. Yet, through the pain, the love they shared continued to shine, an eternal flame that even death could not extinguish. In honoring Malcolm's memory, Pamela found strength in storytelling, music, and a foundation created in his name to support arts, education, and wellness. Her devotion ensured that Malcolm's spirit would continue to uplift others, just as he had done in life. Social media became a space of collective mourning and celebration, with hashtags like #RememberMalcolm trending for days. Fans shared clips of his performances, excerpts from his poetry, and personal reflections about how his work had shaped their lives. Younger artists credited him as a role model who taught them it was okay to be multifaceted, grounded, and true to oneself. Beyond the entertainment world, activists, educators, and public figures highlighted Malcolm's lasting impact. Janelle Monáe described him as a trailblazer and a role model, while Oprah Winfrey dedicated a special segment to his life, calling him a man who taught us how to be present, love fiercely, and give back generously. Public and private memorials were held across the country, from quiet family gatherings to star-studded tributes in Hollywood. Award shows paused for moments of silence, and the Actors Guild issued a statement praising his contributions to both his craft and his community. At every event, stories emerged of Malcolm's gentle spirit, thoughtful mentorship, and unwavering commitment to uplifting others. Internationally, fans mourned his passing as well. Across Europe, Africa, and Latin America, Malcolm's work was remembered as groundbreaking. His portrayal of Theo Huxtable, a symbol of representation and dignity for many. His reach had long since transcended borders, and his sudden absence was felt worldwide. Throughout this period of mourning, one theme remained constant. Malcolm-Jamal Warner was more than the sum of his roles. He was a father, husband, son, friend, artist, and advocate. The deep respect he earned over decades came not only from his talent, but from his character, his willingness to mentor, to listen, to lead by example. Plans to preserve his legacy were soon announced, including scholarship programs, community art spaces, and a foundation championing the values Malcolm lived by. These initiatives, many led by Pamela Warner, and those closest to him, seek to ensure that future generations benefit from Malcolm's dedication to creativity, education, and well-being. In the end, Malcolm-Jamal Warner's life was a portrait of purpose, passion, and presence. His impact, on screen and off, was profound, and the love between him and his mother Pamela is a shining example of resilience and grace. As stories, tributes, and memories continue to be shared,